Yo, what's up, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire here, and I got Magic Mike with me. Say hi, Mike.
How's it going, everybody? Hi, Mike.
And we got Vlad with us.
Hi, Vlad.
Hi, Vlad. I guess we're here for another episode. We're on episode 26 now. 26 episodes under our belt. Sounds pretty cool. So, what's the weather like for you guys? Cold?
Really cold. It's headed down to the single digits.
I'm showing 13 degrees right now.
Wow.
Yeah. And Magic Mike is so close to me, we probably could go out and have coffee after the show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's making a pretty big assumption that he would want to hang out with you, Vlad.
Well, nobody wants to hang out with me. Let's be honest.
I'm just saying. All right.
I had to see people 1 hour a week, and they kicked me out. Come on, nobody wants me.
It's okay, Vlad. I like everybody. It's not a problem.
All right, so let's talk about our first big thing. Earlier this week, Kickside gave us 48 hours of half repair time, and I just did a little informal poll on the page just to see what people mainly used it for. Overwhelmingly, 61% of the people used it to get extra chores done. So, going out farming their titanium, farming their base parts, farming their uranium. Some people I know included in this went out and did some extra FM, stuff, prizes they might not like, resistors they might not have gotten. They're like, oh, well, screw it. It's half repair time. I'll go work on that stuff. So overwhelmingly, 61% of people use it on chores.
One problem.
What's
Only
that?
One problem. I picked that one, but I would have picked, didn't do anything because I was caught up. So it didn't help me at all.
Gotcha.
I did pick chores. Go.
I know there are 20% of the people used it for repair catch up. Fleets they had wrecked from bounty, whether there might have had several fleets wrecked from bounty, even though we had a double repair queue, or just, from maybe people still had fleets that were wrecked from the VXP weekend, the weekend before that they just never got around to repairing yet. So that's what 20% of the people used it for. 16% of the people went out used it to go out and smash bases with, and only 3% of the people used it to go out and hit the co-op targets that were out there. Did any of you guys do the co-op targets at all?
Started one, said screw it, and left it. That was it.
Yeah, I myself didn't do any. I don't have any friends, so I had nobody to co-op with.
Back in December, I tried to do one of the 120s with an old friend that some of our audience may know, Alona, and her and I got about a quarter of the way into the target, and both of our fleets died, and that was the end of me even attempting them. There's nothing I need that they give out to even so much as risk losing a whole fleet.
I heard they did give out pretty good VXP though. Not like, VXP weekend VXP, but still decent VXP. So people who were had stuff they were working on ranking and apparently were taking them out and like either killing them or dying them or whatever and getting a decent payout for VXP.
The only hull that I have anywhere in my dock or storage that isn't already legendary is my ghost crawler, and I don't think it was going to work in that target.
Yeah, I was saying the only thing I had to rank up was a whole bunch of Conqueror stuff, and I can't take them in those targets. So yeah, I was left out in the cold. But yeah, I mean, based off of this, I would almost like to see once a week, maybe have Chore Monday or something where we get half repair time on Mondays and we can go out and get, farm all our titanium and all our base parts and all our uranium during Chore Monday. So just something to think about, hopefully they got some at least halfway decent numbers of people taking advantage of this, and this will be something that they'll, spring up now and then. And I'm telling you, Chore Monday is a great idea. I'm telling you.
I think that just having a schedule for this in general, part of the problem I think with this was that nobody knew it was coming until it was right on top of you. You couldn't plan ahead for it. And
do you really need to plan ahead for half repair times though? You're like, oh my god, half repair times.
No. If you're gonna go out and smash bases, you do. I mean, I don't have a base fleet ready to go, and I couldn't get one ready to go in 2 days.
Well, you couldn't have got one ready to go in a month either.
Well, repair times is another problem. I'll tell you the one thing I would like to see them do as opposed to half repair is I would like to see them do half time targets where it didn't take you 8 minutes to do an FM target. It only took 4.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But this week I'm trying to focus on the good things as opposed to the bad.
Oh no, I'm not. I did some stuff at half repair that I probably wouldn't have done otherwise. So
yeah.
So it will give it Vlad's thumb of approval.
Oh, there you go. You guys heard it here first. You got a big thumbs up from Vlad. That never freaking happens. So
There you go.
I beat him over the head, but it eventually came out.
That is why I tried the 103 target, though, with the Buckies, because of the half repair.
So let's see. What else did we have happen this week? Because I know we had some other stuff happen for sure. Let's see what our next slide tells us is going on. Oh, the new armors in the FM. So let's talk about these. We talked about them some last week. We're going to talk about them a little bit more in a little more detail. So we got the compound armor. That's the one that's Forsaken tech that goes on your Conqueror defenders. It only offers you 1,000 armor points for 900 tons of weight. However, it will give you 64,000 deflections against penetrative, ballistic, and explosive damage types. With an equipment cap of 3, meaning you can only put 3 of these per ship. So if your ship has 5 armor slots, tough noogies, you can only put 3 of these on. And then you have the Zithonite one, which does pretty much the same thing, only it's against radioactive, concussive, and corrosive. And these all only have a 15-minute repair time, but they have the dreaded 360 pass-through, which we are going to talk about some on the next slide. So let's go ahead and go into that, and then we'll talk about the armor itself and its usefulness. So they did a post on damage type deflection and pass through. I'm sure your average Go player, they read this post and their head did exactly what this guy's head over here in this image did. Their freaking head exploded because it was too much thinking for your average BP player. Your average BP player just wants to say, put this on this, go and smash stuff, you know. So I'm going to simplify it for you. When using these new armors, or the new mortar, because the new mortar that just came out in the last bounty also has a concussive deflection value on it. I think it's 105,000 or whatever, but it also has this 360 pass through. So when you're using the new armors or the mortar, your minimum damage is now 360. It used to be like 100 or something with the older hulls. It's now jumped up to 360. So all that means is if your deflection value is greater than the damage coming into you, you will take a minimum of 360 damage per projectile. It's pretty simple when you break it down into that category. And that's why, I know Hefe and I talked about this probably like 2 years ago when deflections first came out. But this is why, and then you're going to start seeing people use your low damage but high salvo weapons a lot more for going against people who would have put this on their tier 6 conquerors, because it's gonna per each projectile they'll be taking that 360. And like if you start looking at like the bypass chain gun, or you're talking it's broken up into 30 projectiles per weapon. So that's 30 times 360. That's what, 720, 980 damage per. Well, let's see. No, that's nine. That'd be 9,800 per one cannon. Is that right?
Yeah, who knows?
That's a lot.
Yep, that's right. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I was pretty accurate on that. I'll let you guys talk about this. I'm going to bust out my handy dandy calculator and do a little math there on that.
Yeah, well, the thing I had to say about this is if you made it deep enough into that post, Riken led you to believe that building a tier 5 or a tier 6 with these armors might be a good idea. And I got to tell you that at this point, you should be, if you're going to be building Conquerors, you should be building tier 7, because it's going to cost you the same amount of time to build this armor on a tier 5 as it does on a tier 7. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to waste all that build time on an obsolete hull.
Okay, and I was off by a little bit. I was off by 1,000 points apparently. So yeah, one bypass chain gun on something that has this armor, this mortar equipped, will actually be doing well. Probably not the mortar because it doesn't give deflection against that damage type. But say against the compound one that gives, yeah, it'll be doing 10,800 damage. Minimum damage, and then it also does radiation on top of that. So if they have both armor plates on, then you're getting double that 360. So then it goes up to like 21,600 or whatever. So yeah, but I mean, it's really it's as simple as I can make it. Is if your deflection value is higher than the projectiles coming in, you're going to take a minimum of 360 per projectile. If your deflection value is lower than it is per projectile coming in, then your damage is going to be just like it was before. It's going to be the amount of damage they're doing minus your deflection, and you'll just take whatever's left over. So hopefully that made it really simple for everybody to understand. I mean, I think anything more than that is making it way too complicated, and you're going to just confuse yourself. My personal advice, though, is when it comes to tier 6 and tier 6.5 hulls, I wouldn't even bother putting this on. Just stick it with your tier 7s. So if you don't have tier 7s, just wait until you get a tier 7. That's my personal opinion, because otherwise you're going to be dealing with a whole lot of headaches trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to go in and they're going to be shooting at me with this weapon, and this weapon does this much damage, so I can't go over this amount of deflection, and you're going to look like the guy in the picture. Your head's going to freaking explode. Tier 7 hulls are designed for this armor. That's why they have like 2.6 million armor points, because that 360 is not a big thing on them. So okay, Synergy saying, so big no on the longboats. Oh, you're talking the old original longboats? Well, yes, it's a big no, but you can't put it on there anyway because it's not, longboats aren't Conquerors or Defenders. So I will say this too, because like when we found out the 360 was the pass through on this, that's when I started asking about, okay, well, what about the Sin scatter gun? What's the deflection on that one? I didn't get a specific number, but I was told it is lower than it is on these things, so that's probably around 100 pass through, which is typical of what we're used to. But I was told that the mortar is also 360. So if you're using that to up your concussive deflection, be aware that you're going to run into the same kind of problems using it to do that as you will the armors. So like I personally had planned on putting mortar on my King's Writ to up its concussive deflection, but now I need to rethink that a little bit. So yes, if you're going to put any of this stuff on tier 6 or tier 6.5 hulls or anything else, be prepared to do some math to find out if it's worth it, and if it is worth it, exactly how many panels you should be putting on. So did that clear it up for anybody at all?
Clear as mud.
A little bit.
So I don't know. I know there's other people are like trying to put out like all kinds of computations and calculations, and it was just like, don't have your deflection higher than the damage. That's pretty much it.
That's the point I took away.
Yeah. So I know I'll be putting these on my onslaughts for sure, because they're designed for it. Anything under onslaughts, I don't know. I have to look specifically at it. You know, you're gonna have to be watching for people who are using those low damage, high salvo weapons if you plan on putting them on any basers, because you know I can see eviscerators. The people be like, "Oh, I'm going to put these armors on my eviscerator, and I'm going to walk all the bases," and then they get hit by something that has that high salvo, and then poof, gone in like 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. You know, so. This week we also had the rerun of the Herculean TC, where we can get Hydra build tokens and Hydras and guns for Hydras and specials for Hydras and all kinds of fun stuff. And fireworks and big praise No random chests in this TLC. They finally heard us, took out the random chests, and said, "Here, you will be getting 4 2-day build tokens in your mastery runs through the TLC. There's no randomness." So, good job. Thank you for finally listening on this. Yeah, it's to me, more than anything, actually, the 48-hour half repair time and them doing this for this TLC makes me hopeful for 2018 that perhaps they have rounded a little bit of a corner and are starting to listen a little bit more.
Well, I think the most important type of player feedback you can get kind of might have led them away from the random chests, because I know that a lot of people, me included, skipped the mastery level entirely because I was not going to deal with a random payout. So another Vlad thumb of approval right there. Thumbs up on the no random chests.
Well, I know a lot of people skipped the mastery round on this too, not so much because of the chest, just because it was 7 encounters that you have to get through in 60 minutes. That's not easy. It's not easy. But if you don't have like the proper fleet setups and like myself, I had to tinker around a little bit last time and figured out, okay, I can do this encounter, and this encounter with my hunters, and that leaves me more time to do these encounters with my fangs if I do it that way. So it's a little mix and matching, trying to maximize your time versus damage ratio there. And if you only had like say fangs or whatever, trying to get through 7 encounters in 60 minutes, that's really pushing it.
You're not going to do it with just fangs. You have to have both fleets to get there.
Oh yeah, that's true. You do have to have the hunters do the one thing. Although that doesn't become an issue to what is it, mastery rounds? Mastery rounds,
right?
Yeah.
So you can do the first 3 prize packs, but if you don't have both fleets, don't even try the last one.
Yeah. So in prize pack 1, you'll get the launcher, and you'll get a 5,000 BXP Hydra token. In prize pack 2, you'll get the actual Hydra itself and the siege capacitor CIC. And then in prize pack 3, you'll get the Mercy CIC, the Aegis CIC. You'll get a 1-day Hydra build token, and you'll get the multiple charge doubler, multiplex charge doubler special. And then in the last one for your prize pack run throughs, which 4 rounds, you will get for each run through you do, you'll get 1 plate of charged armor, and you will get 2 1-day Hydra siege build tokens for a total of 8 by doing all 4 of them.
Not bad.
So yeah, I mean, I know I'll be doing this campaign so I can get a little farther on my Hydras. I currently have 1 Hydra built and the flag built, and I'm anxious to crank out a couple more. But yeah, you'll just have to, like I said, when you get to the mastery run-throughs, there's, I believe, 7 encounters, and you got 60 minutes to do it, so you're going to have to do a little trial and error and find out what works best for you as far as using your hunters to do certain encounters and your fangs to do certain encounters to get you through there in the time frame available.
Yeah, it took me about 55 minutes. And it's fangs for 6 and just hunters in 7.
Yeah, I think last time we did this by like my 4th and 5th run through, or my 3rd and 4th, I can't remember. I had it down to where I would actually be going into the last encounter with 28 minutes left. But unfortunately, it's been a month since we did that, and I can't remember exactly what fleets I used to hit what back then. I should have written it down or something. But
cool.
Anything else you want to say about this, lad?
No, I just I'm contemplating whether or not that mastery prize is going to be worth the hassle. Guess I'll have to take a look at it.
I don't know. 8 days worth of build time is a pretty big deal in my book.
Yeah, but if my concern is like Mike said, it's 55 minutes. I mean, if you miss that by a couple minutes and you don't make it in 60, then you've taken all that damage for nothing.
Right.
I think you can, as long as you enter the target with the last target with time on the clock. I don't think time's out.
The only time I've ever timed out a TLC, it did not give me the prize when I went over this, even though I was already in the last target.
Really?
Honestly, they go back and forth on that. Some TLCs will allow you to complete them as long as you entered when there was time left on the clock, and there have been TLCs that if the timer ran out while you were in there, you don't get the prize. So it seems like they do not have a consistent rule for that.
No, you're kidding.
This one is tight. This one is tight.
Yeah, but I believe this one you can run out. The clock can run out while you're inside of it, and you will still get the prize.
Oh, cool.
But again, if you don't have the hunters, don't even try it.
Yeah. But I mean, if you don't have the Hydra itself or the weapon, you can do both of those prize packs with either or. So I think the prize pack 3, I think, is where it becomes like in the last encounter for that one, you have to have the fangs, and then in the mastery round, you have to have fangs for encounter 6. And you have to have hunters for encounter 7. So,
did they give out the CICs in the last TLC?
No, the CICs were raid prizes, and they're now in the TLC.
Well, I would say definitely do prize pack 1, 2, and 3, even if you don't choose to skip the mastery. Even if you already have the Hydra blueprint, it's going to be nice to have those CICs going forward.
Yeah, just like I said, be aware that in prize pack 3, when you get to that last encounter, you will have to have fangs. So if you only have hunters, you're not going to be able to get that part. Let's see.
And you cannot crash the fence and come around the backside and get all the gluttonies first anymore. They fixed that.
Oh, did they?
Yep.
Cool. Something else is going on there. All the skirmish targets are transitioning. Hey, oh my God, Chicken Little, the sky is falling. No, we knew this was going to happen. It's pretty much we know every time we have a raid, when that raid is over, those targets are going to get introduced into the game to replace the chore fleet that we already have. I don't know why people still get all hyper and upset about this crap. It's the way it is. Learn it, deal with it, move on. So we're going to be getting both targets up until the 27th of this month. And then after that, we'll just be having the Scourge blockades replacing the Reavers. So, yeah, I had to go in and I had to change the date because they changed it on the forum. So instead of where it says use the next 2 weeks to learn these targets, make that use the next 3 weeks to learn these targets.
Well, no, it really is just the next 2 weeks, because one of those 3 weeks will be raid week. They probably won't be out. They usually take those targets away from us during the raid, don't they?
Well, but it's only going to be like a 3 or 4 day raid, so it's not like
it is a 4-day raid.
Yeah, so it's not like a week-long raid where we won't have it for an entire week. I know right now they are retuning some of the Scourge blockades that were out on the map. They're retuning some of them already. I think it's the 57 and the 75 because they were too difficult based on player feedback, so they pulled them and they're retuning them, which, again, that's another good sign. Normally, old Kicks Eye would be like, argue with you for 3 weeks. No, they're not too powerful. They're not too powerful. And then finally be like, okay, they're too powerful. But like to see them doing it like on the first day this time around makes me happy. Makes me optimistic that maybe we have turned some kind of corner here and people are listening. So, anything you guys have on the transitions?
No, I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard what you just talked about, that people have been complaining they're much harder than they should be.
My only big problem with these is just going to be the targets are so freaking big. So to go kill one of these is going to take forever for a chore, And I mean, if I'm going to be able to go out and auto them with my hunters, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I want to be taking about the same amount of damage taking the same amount of damage autoing these as I was like autoing 75s with my Tide Seekers. I want to be taking about the same amount of damage autoing deep 75s with my hunters. You know, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got to drive them, good God, these targets are so freaking big. And you're just going to be like doubling my chore time if I got to drive them. But I said before, though, I'm not sure if it's the targets themselves are actually so huge or if it's you spend 75% of the time you're in the target running away from shit. And that's why it just makes it seem big, because you're covering that same map area like 20 times per battle. We had Bounty. We got the Onslaught. And I'm going to do a little bit of sharing some Onslaught design concepts that I have. I know some shows are like, oh, we don't think we should be sharing PvP builds because that should be the area of your alliance or what have you. But I'll be honest, I'm not here to just help you with PvE. I'm here to help you in any aspect of the game. That any information I can give you will help. Not just to tailor make my helpfulness to what I think it should be. You know, I'm going to try to help you in every aspect that I can. So I put together a Chaos Chain Gun build for an Onslaught. As you can see, we got all Chaos Chain Gun slots there. I myself did not get the tactical mod, so that's why I don't have it there. If you have it, you can feel free to put it on there. I used Siege Targeting for Siege Battery 4, because yes, Siege Battery 4 is not working to its full effectiveness currently, but I know it will be. So by the time I finally get to use this, it'll probably be fixed. You're going to have the Speed System 6. You have your ballistic armaments, which if I remember correctly, that gives you accuracy, damage, and range, and maybe some splash. And you got your Punch Overdrive, which is a great special for your ballistics. And then we got Shield Attack 3, and some people are like, well, doesn't this hull already have tactical resistance built into it? Yeah, but it does stack, and, you know, slow resistance is a great thing. Based on what based on all the information we're getting for tactical resistances right now, I'm not even sure what tactical resist does and doesn't work on at this point in time, because apparently we got bad information 3 years ago, or whether we're getting bad information now, I have no idea. So I'm just like, oh, screw it, I'll put it on there. But and then, you know, I go with 3 of what I call the basic damage types armor panels. You know, that's for the radio. That's for ballistic, explosive, and penetrative. So, you know, it gives me about 192,762 deflection from those types. Of course, explosive is a lot more because it came stock with 1.6 million. And then for the secondary damage types, as I like to call them, is the corrosive, concussive, and radioactive. That gives me 128,000 deflection against those damage types. So I've seen this being used, and it does come out pretty well. People have been having pretty good amount of success with builds similar to this. So, you guys got anything you want to put in on there?
What do you end up on range with those chain guns?
You would ask me the one thing I don't know off the top of my head. Hang on.
Well, I didn't ask you.
I can go into the game and find out.
That's all right.
I can do it. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Give me a minute.
Then they're 50 base range, right? Could have probably done that too.
Your range ends up being using the ballistic armaments and that gun. You end up with a 75 range.
Okay.
I forgot I actually had it plugged into Huggies already, so I didn't even have to go into the game.
That's not too bad.
As you can see, though, here, your damage types versus the different damage types versus walls and buildings. I did a little thing there. For penetrative, you know, 166,000 roughly. Ballistic, 249,000 roughly. Explosive, 307,000 roughly, because you get that. You get the hull has a damage buff automatically. Concussive, radioactive, and corrosive are all 166, for giving you a total DPS against building and walls of 1,220,224. So then, of course, you have to you have to, subtract any kinds of defenses or deflections they might have on those buildings and walls. But that gives you a base idea of what kind of damage you're looking at. I got hit by a fleet that had probably 3 that were probably similar to this the other day. Fleet level 381. I'm like, good Lord, these fleet level numbers have gotten pretty freaking crazy at this point in time. And then I also
titanium too.
Yeah. This build, it takes a crap ton of titanium, like you were just saying, like almost 300,000. So you're going to have to build it in stages. You can't build it all at one time. And it's very resource heavy. But, for the complete build with armors, you're looking at like just a little over 12 days, 12 days, 15 hours roughly. So, the empty hull has what? I think the empty hull is like a 15-hour build time. So while it's very resource intensive, the build time of the hull is extremely short.
Yeah. What's attack mod? About 20 hours?
I have no idea because I don't have it.
Okay.
So then we're going to also put together a rocket build, which I haven't tested this yet. Obviously, I don't have mine built yet, but it looked good on paper. We'll have to see how it actually, plays out in game. But I used a whole bunch of the V rockets because they do pretty decent damage and they give me a speed buff. I use explosive system. I use the Delta V mortar focus, I think is what it's called. That gives me projectile speed and explosive buff and all that kind of stuff. Cluster warheads to give my rockets just that little bit of extra reload. I needed to get them at max reload. I went with the 2 because going with 3 would have been overload. And again, I went with siege battery, siege targeting, and speed system 6. But when you look at your DPS versus buildings and walls, 1,833,857. So seems like a pretty good number. It's a little bit less build time than the ballistic one and a little less resource heavy. But there again, like I've seen the ballistic one in action and I know how well it works. This one, the numbers look better. But something you'll have to take in consideration though, that a lot of people are currently set up with a bunch of explosive defenses in their base based on, having sloths and whatnot in the past. So while your number looks better, you might not necessarily be getting as much damage out of it. So any comments or questions on this one?
Nope.
I wish Ross was here because he could go more into the PvP builds, but I believe he's with his grandkids at the moment. So, priorities definitely have good there. So, okay, well, we still got some time left. What do you guys want to talk about that we haven't covered yet? Or what do you want to go into more detail about? Bueller?
Well, thinking forward now I didn't want to bring this up, but I'm going to.
Go ahead.
Thinking forward to the next raid when it comes out. And Buckies are fair to middling from last time, so working on Hydras. What do you recommend? I've seen some Hydras where they're using almost what looks like 2 countermeasure ships out of 5. And that seems to me like maybe a little too much, maybe not enough. I don't know. But what's your thought on how you should look going into that Hydra target?
Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. Let me do a total redirection of my brain here because it was in PvP mode from going over that last stuff, and now you want me to switch back over to PvE.
See, the problem is I don't enjoy PvP, so.
All right. Okay. So let's see. What you're asking me is what direction you should go with Hydras?
More or less. I mean, I have, I know some of the basics, but you got the blood, and then those CICs, and certainly one's got to be a tanky type ship. But does two of them need to be tanky?
I know. I myself here's my plan that I'm going into this. I'm building 2 of my Hydras with the which CIC is it that gives you the range extension on the radioactive stuff? Is it the
Aegis? Is it?
I'm not sure which one it is. Hang on, let me log in the game. I was not prepared to talk about this at all, so you call me with my pants down.
Easy trigger. You don't need to reveal that.
Well, I could reveal a lot more if you want me to, but I'm just not gonna.
Wow.
Ask.
Oh man, just.
Let's see. So I'm using the siege capacitor CIC on mine. That's the one that it lowers your defenses some, but it gives you more building damage, more wall damage, and 100% more radioactive damage, and 5% more radioactive range. And on that particular hull, I'm just going all out weapons, and then like siege battery, siege targeting, and all the appropriate buff things that go with it. But then I do have the Blood Hydra, and I'm using that as my countermeasure / medic ship. I put the Murky CIC on that, and then it's loaded down with pretty much all its weapon slots are filled with various different kind of countermeasures. I think I got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I have 4 sprints on it, 2 tridents, and 2 phalanx 4s. And then it has all like countermeasure specials on it. And then, like I said, it has the Healy CIC on it. So that's the direction I'm going myself.
Okay, so basically just one ship with countermeasures.
Yeah, I think more than that is too much. In my personal opinion, I think more than that is overkill.
And why are you mixing sprints and tridents?
Because I'm not sure exactly which one works better. So I figured, screw it. I'll go with both of them.
Okay. It's reasonable. Yeah, I was just going to try and pull it up in the shipyard here and see. There's 2, 4, 6, 8. So you're using all countermeasures on that one. No offensive on it at all.
Let's look over in chat here and see what questions we got going over there. Don't ask me any super complicated math questions, guys, because I'm not up for that today. So, but if you guys have anything else you want us to talk about, go ahead and throw it in chat over there. We'll give you a minute or so for chat to catch up to where we're at. I know I need to go out and farm some titanium here, dude. I've been going through titanium crazy. I have 2 onslaughts that are mostly done at this point in time, and I've probably gone through 600,000 titanium in like the past 3 days.
Wow.
I don't think I've gone through 600,000 uranium in my life. Or
Titanium.
But titanium.
Yeah, titanium. Yeah. Oh yeah, I tell you, since I got my Conquest shipyard, I've been spending that stuff like it's water.
I've had a Huggy shipyard for a long time, and I just have not been motivated to go out and get the titanium to use it.
I've had a big problem with that myself until this new Onslaught hull came out. I was fortunate and I was able to get the 3 of them in Bounty. And I was like, I can actually have like a relevant PvP hull out fairly quick that could potentially actually last a while this time with all the changes that they're trying to do with PvP. So that kind of motivated me enough to go out and gather up some titanium.
Yeah, well, as you know, I don't do Bounty.
Right.
So I don't have
anymore.
I never did. I participated in Bounty for about 20 minutes. In Bounty 1, I signed in with like 20 minutes left to go so I could get the
Axiom.
Yeah. And that was it.
Bounty 1 and I did Bounty last, and that I think is my last. That was just not fun.
I just can't be bothered with chasing down titanium.
Yeah, see, I'm totally the opposite of you guys. I don't mind bounty at all. You know, I go out, and when I feel like doing it, I go out and auto map targets and get my bounty that way, reach my checkpoints, and then go get prizes.
The reason I did it is because I came across this King's Writ build that could auto 99s.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Across that.
Yeah, I had heard something about that build.
Yeah, and it seemed to work like a charm. And then since I had one that was refitting and at that exact time, I just threw a couple tokens at it and got it right on the water. So that's why I did it, and then put some slots behind that, and it even worked better. But just was a lot of work for. I did end up with like 47,000 points, and I got all the little stuff instead of the onslaught. So I figured that would come out, and then I'd already have the specials and stuff. But
I know that particular King's Writ build that you're talking about. That was probably actually one of the best things I'd put out there for people in a long time, because I know there were a lot of people who had been struggling with those map targets that were able to participate once they saw that build. And I got lots of positive feedback on that. Lots of people.
I'm one of them. Thanks.
I'm definitely glad I was able to help you guys. There's a lot of the Eviscerator build that I did too with the video that I posted of that was able to auto the map targets. That actually got a lot of views too. Personally, for me, I thought that one was really cool because the Eviscerator campaign happened to be going on at the same time that bounty was. So, you know, you could actually go get the hull, do a couple mastery runs to get the tokens to build the hull, and be out on the water all within, like, you know, a day or something. So I thought that was pretty kick-ass that I was able to come up with something for that.
That was nice, yep.
Yeah. But, I know for me, myself, I think I only had, like, 1 or 2 people even try to hit me during bounty. So it was definitely, from my perspective and what I picked up, it was definitely, again, a much more PvE-centered bounty than it was PvP. But, you know, that's fine. I'm fine with that, whatever. You know, I ended up, I think I got 67,000 points, and I don't think I even played it all the last day. I pretty much slept the entire last day. But, yeah, I got like 67,000 points, so I was able to get the... I got maybe not quite sure. Maybe it was more like 57,000. I can't remember. I got the hull, I got the mortar, and I got the 2 tokens, and I think that was all I got. So yeah, that probably put me in around 57, 58,000, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't play the last day myself either. It was like the checkpoints were just too far off, and it's like, man, I'll get right to where I'm getting close, and then get smashed and lose, and have to do it all over again. So I just kind of stopped.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't even a matter of the checkpoints. I think it was like literally I slept through the last day of bounty.
Oh, no, I was up. It's kind of.
But it was cool too because, you know, several other people that I talk to on a regular basis, we all participated in bounty. So when jackpots come out, and you know, it's like we send messages to one another. It's like jackpots. So like even if we happen not to be in the game, it's like, oh, jackpots. Let me go log in real quick and make sure you don't miss them. I think the only spawn that I missed is, I think, if I recall correctly, Saturday, I think it was, had 2 spawns. It had like one at 1 in the afternoon and one at like 8 in the evening or 7 in the evening or something. Or maybe that was Friday, one of those days. But yeah, I missed the early one because I was still sleeping, but I was able to get the later one. And then, of course, like I said, I missed the one that was on Sunday. But I mean, like I said, I got 58,000 and then missing 2 of the bounty, 2 of the major target spawns, so I thought that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, chat. Well, unless you got everything else you want to cover, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it a little bit early this time. There's just, I mean, you know, we could have probably gone hours and hours and hours talking about the whole deflection thing, but I don't want to muck up the waters too much. Just take the basic thing that I said, that if you're using those armors of that mortar and you go over the amount of damage and deflection that you're going to be getting hit with, then you're going to be taking 360 from each projectile. This time, this armor is very counterintuitive because I think this is the first time ever that you can actually potentially be penalized for applying an armor to your ship. So keep that in mind, you know. It just seems very weird being penalized for putting an armor on your boat, huh?
It does seem a little, like you said, counterintuitive.
Yeah, very counterintuitive. But anyway, I'm not seeing anything from chat.
It's Kickstarter. What do you expect?
Oh, wait, hang on. Let's see. They want our thoughts on Siege Battery 4 on Onslaught since we don't need turret defense. Why do you say you don't need turret defense? Would be my first question. Because you cannot base it just on what turrets we are currently having. I can almost guarantee you there are going to be new tier 7 turrets right around the corner that are going to be doing a significant amount more damage than the turrets that we currently have shooting at us. So I would still recommend definitely going with turret defense.
There's some thought that the next update, when they come up with a TLC, just might have turrets in it.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if we might even see him in the raid. You know, and I can easily see him. Okay, well, you got these like 192,000 deflection numbers or 130,000 deflection numbers you're working with now. Well, guess what? We're going to put out a new long range missile in this upcoming raid. That's going to do, like, after you apply all its specials and get it under fire support and all that stuff, it's going to have, like, it's going to do, like, 200,000 missile damage, you know? So that 192,000 deflection that you have isn't going to cover it all. So, but, yeah, I mean, Siege Battery, we all know it's not working properly at the moment. You know, it's not getting its full R15 buffs, but hopefully, they said by the time that the raid comes out, it was going to be fixed. So I'm building all of my boats with Siege Battery, counting that they are indeed going to stick with that, and it will all be fixed by that time. And I'm not one of those guys who are like, oh no, I'm not getting the extra 5% turret defense I should be getting. Therefore, I'm going to refit everything to garrison battery or frontline countermeasures and then have to refit it again in like 2 weeks. I'm not that guy. You know, I'll go with my 5% or 10% detriment for 2 weeks, not to have to do, like, you know, days of refits later. But that's me. Anything else from chat before we go? I'll give you a 1 minute countdown before I pull the plug. So you have until my clock says 8:50. So I don't know. You guys are probably, you guys said you didn't really have anything else you wanted to talk about.
No, I already got my passion out, which was the Hydra.
All right, cool. Well, it looks like chat pretty much answered all their stuff too. So I guess we're going to call it here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Share us on the pages we can't get on your pages that we can't get to, and give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Speaking of which, YouTube has changed the way they're doing things. So any of these shows or any of the people who put out the Battle Pirates videos that you like that are trying to make like $1 or $2 off of them and monetize, and the rules have changed, and they all have to have at least 1,000 subscribers to be monetized now. So any of the guys who put out videos, any of the shows that you watch on a regular basis, if you like them, make sure you subscribe to them. That'll help them out, kind of help make sure that they keep doing this stuff to help you guys out. So that's pretty much it, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Laters.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.